Jada Pinkett Smith has been making negative headlines for years and has dragged her husband, Will Smith, along with her. Welcome back to Beyond the Screen. I'm your host, Dana, and here are 10 times Jada Pinkett Smith humiliated Will Smith on live TV. At number 10, we have her bringing Will on her podcast. Jada has a podcast with her mother and their shared daughter, and she has celebrity guest stars on it often as well. There was one point where she even decided to have Will on said podcast. But it wasn't just a get to know you kind of segment. She wanted to publicly record them talking about the issues in their relationship. As you can expect, she benefited from it, because she can be an awful person like that. And she was the only one of the two of them who felt like it helped emotionally and mentally. Will was distraught for most of the episode and just looked crushed and defeated throughout it. Of course, it went viral. And even now, the sad Will Smith memes are still fairly popular. The episode made it more than obvious that he's been really unhappy in his marriage. And we can't really blame him, honestly. It made the top of the list because Jada seemed so happy to be there and discussing the issues that humiliated him, even though she could clearly see how upset it made him. And if that doesn't sum up their marriage, I don't know what does. At number 8, we have her boyfriend sharing his side of the story. While she and Will were on an apparent break in their marriage, she decided it would be okay to have another relationship with rapper August Alsina, who happened to be one of her son's close friends. However, after rumors started circulating, he did an interview with Vulture and said that his coming clean about their relationship was to clear the air, and that it was necessary to move forward in their relationship together. On the opposite end of this, Jada was trying to cover it up for the duration of their fling, and when he let the cat out of the bag, she had nowhere to hide. I mean, who wouldn't want to hide when you're dating someone while still legally married and he happened to be 20 years younger than you? He agreed with Jada that their relationship was an entanglement because it was complex and taboo, and the only reason they didn't work out was because the news of their relationship was detrimental to his work life, not just his personal life. So not only did she embarrass Will by dating someone else while they were legally married, she embarrassed August and made his life extremely complicated, all for a few months of fun. At number 8, we have filming without Will's permission. This one is a little less drastic than some of the other points on the list, but she made Will very uncomfortable and didn't really understand what she was doing wrong. After the Chris Rock incident, people were going back through their media documented marriage moments just to see if she's done anything like that before, and a lot of people landed on one specific clip of Jada's Instagram Live from 2019. She was talking about their marriage counselor and faced the camera towards Will and asked if their counselor was really helping them redefine their marriage. He looked annoyed and rather uncomfortable, then responded with, "I would say just don't start filming without asking me first if you could." But instead of respecting his wishes, she continued to try and film his response, with limited success. So while she didn't embarrass him on live television, she did embarrass him on her Instagram Live. At number 7, we have attempting to defend their marriage. Jada has put her foot down a handful of times, stating that they didn't have an open relationship, but she had posted some Facebook comments and made comments that contradict that. On her Facebook page, she attempted to clear up the rumors and help the situation, but all it did was open a can of worms. She said that they had an unconventional marriage, and while they aren't in an open relationship, monogamy is something they choose. That isn't entirely true. Monogamy was something she chose. It was something that Will would follow through with through their entire marriage. He didn't run around with his kids' friends and then defend the relationship because they were on a break. She also said that they both had the option to do whatever they pleased because they trusted each other, which seems like she was trying to shift the blame to make her look less like the bad guy. She finished the post by saying they did not have an open relationship, they have a grown one. This is contradictory in itself because her actions only made them grow apart rather than as a couple, and she was the only one in the relationship doing the growing. At number 6, we have her talking about their relationship issues. Like I had mentioned in an earlier point, Jada hosts a podcast with her mother and her daughter, which is called Red Table Talks, if you want to look for it. On one of the episodes they had recorded, she had the ever so hated Gwyneth Paltrow as a guest star. Part of their discussion was about intimacy, both in general and in their relationships. So in classic Jada fashion, she opened up about her intimacy issues with Will. Not only did she publicly have a long-term relationship with one of her son's friends, but she also had the nerve to blame their intimate issues on Will. She admitted she wanted him to read her mind to know what she liked, rather than communicating her feelings like an adult. She then claimed that she expects her partner to know what she likes, even if she never verbally shared how she felt, and finished off by saying she just somehow wasn't satisfied with him. Not only did she embarrass herself on her podcast, but she also embarrassed Will right along with her. At number 5, we have the clash with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is known across the world for his music, his silly antics, his hefty interest in herbology, and for popping up in the most random places, like on a talk show with Kevin Hart, a cooking show with Martha Stewart, and a Bit commercial. Everyone knows who he is. So when Jada attempted to go toe-to-toe with him after Kobe Bryant's accident, it made everyone hide their eyes in secondhand embarrassment. After Bryant's passing, it came to light that he was in a court case for having lack of communication with a 19-year-old. This was before he married his wife, I might add. The case was dropped due to lack of evidence, and the accuser had nothing concrete. He then married his wife in 2001, so it had been almost 2 decades since the incident. Gayle King brought up the case during his wake, which was really disrespectful and uncalled for. It caused insane backlash from people and celebrities alike, and Snoop Dogg was one of them who made it very clear how he felt about the situation. Jada didn't like his response and invited him on her podcast in an attempt to clear things up. She claimed she felt hurt on behalf of all women because of the way he spoke to Gayle, and she felt like he had taken power away from her, her mother, and her daughter, which makes no sense. Gayle overstepped her boundary and Snoop called her on it. The situation had literally nothing to do with Jada. She just happened to see it and felt like she needed to be involved. At number 4, we have her mocking the party he threw. For Jada's 37th birthday, Will decided it would be a great idea to throw a massive surprise party. Now, it wasn't just their celebrity friends and some close family and what have you. He hired party planners to set it up and spent 3 days planning and getting everything ready. He even booked Mary J. Blige to perform for her. Talk about a birthday gift. But that's not all. He traced her family roots and invited her family members from her long line of lineage. Not only did he find her family, he went out of his way to reach out to them and invite them to the party. You'd think she would appreciate his labor of love, but instead she threw it back in his face, claiming he only did it to display his ego. And she hated the fact that he went out of his way to throw her the party. He admitted he was devastated when she said those hurtful things, and it even sent him on a downward spiral that negatively impacted his life. This should have been one of the biggest of many red flags. At number 3, we have her feelings for Tupac. For those of you who don't know, Jada was in a long-term relationship with Tupac years before she met Will, and his untimely passing was the end of their relationship. It's normal and even healthy to miss someone who passed, especially when you were romantically involved with them for a few years. But in 2012, while she and Will were still married, she posted a picture of her and Tupac in a very intimate embrace and captioned the photo, "I miss him." It makes sense wanting to share your deep feelings with the world, especially when they're affecting you most. But it was a questionable photo to choose to post, especially when you're married to someone else. Not to mention, Will and Jada's daughter Willow wrote a letter addressed to Tupac after he passed because Willow claimed she knew he was still alive. One of the lines in the letter read, "Can you please come back so mommy and me can be happy? I think mommy really misses you." It seems sweet and rather innocent, but at a young age, she was aware of how much he still had a hold on Jada, and she wanted him to come back into their lives, which at that point seemed like it could have been the end of Will and Jada's marriage. Nothing came of it, obviously, but it makes you question how much Willow really knew about the situation. At number 2, we have how she never really wanted to marry Will. When you get married to someone, it's supposed to be forever. That's the point of marriage, is to link two people's lives together for a lifelong commitment of love and trust. So it's less surprising what Jada did in their marriage when she admitted she never really wanted to get married. She and Will got married when they were very young, and it was actually Jada's mother who pressured her into the marriage because she really liked Will and saw the potential in him. However, that decision aged poorly because of her heinous actions that I covered in some of the points above. For Will's birthday, she posted a fairly old photo of them with their 2 kids and one of Jada's sons from one of her previous relationships. Many fans sent birthday wishes, but there were a few who made snarky remarks and rehashed lines from Red Table Talks, contradicting the post. Some people commented on how she didn't love him romantically, and a clip came up of her saying how she cried all the way down the aisle because she didn't want to be married to him, and how she felt pressure to be wed, even though she never wanted to be married in general. At least she's happy with him 28 years later, with multiple affairs and many humiliating moments for both of them. And last but not least, at number 1, we have the slap. Of course, the infamous slap made number 1. The situation went down at the 94th Academy Awards, and that same evening, Will actually won the Best Actor award for his performance in King Richard. But that wasn't the only performance that night. He and Jada were sitting relatively close to the front when Chris Rock was on the stage accepting an award and made a joke directed at Jada. He was referencing her bald head when he asked if she was going to be in G.I. Jane. Will laughed because Chris Rock is funny, and Jada wasn't having it. She rolled her eyes and looked at Will with a piercing gaze because she wanted him to do something about it. So he waltzed up on stage and gave Chris Rock a full swing slap to the face, then proceeded to yell at him, saying to keep Jada's name out of his mouth. Of course, the meme circulated and everyone heard about it. But Jada came out later saying that she'd been struggling with alopecia for years, and at this point, all she could do was laugh or not take it to heart. Neither of which she did when she ended up getting her and her husband blacklisted from the Academy Awards. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, you can drop a like or a comment down below, and if you're looking for daily celebrity content, you should subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. I have been your host Dana, and this has been Beyond the Screen. We will see you next time.